Yeah, and if we go to the next slide, we present the agenda. Okay, so the meeting is going to be like, I'm going to be giving you the general information of the call. I mean, I'm sure all of you have read it, but of course, it's always good to have this chance to ask questions. And then my colleague Anne-Laure, who's program officer, I'm sure you've met her before, she's going to give a more specific information on guidelines, how to submit the application through Plaza. You know, it's not as straightforward or as much as we would like. So yeah, it's very interesting to hear all the details that she has to bring in the table. And again, you have the chance to ask questions either through the chat or by voice as you wish. And then there'll be the presentation matchmaking event that so far 3 people have registered for it. So they will be able to present their skills or their project, what they're looking for into a consortia. You can reach out to them afterwards. And through all this session, my colleague Rebecca has prepared some Slido questions to make this meeting more engaging with all of us. So please, Rebecca, start with the questionnaire that you prepared through Slido.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Rebecca, really happy to be here. So before we get the download of all of the most important information, let's take it a little bit easy and let's wake up a little bit. So if you guys could please scan the QR code on the top left here and join us here on Slido. Feel free to send a little thumbs up once you're connected. Just use your phone. That should be the easiest way that you can join us here on Slido.
Is it also possible, Rebecca, to just use the website for those that are struggling with the QR code?
Yeah, you can also go to slido.com and type in that code. How's everyone managing? Any help or assistance needed? Oh, we have one participant in the group. So please share with us where you're joining us from. The beautiful thing about being part of the EIT Community NEB is that we're spread all over the EU. So let's see how international we are today. Has everyone managed to join the Slido? Any issues there? And Maria and Laura, I also invite you to join the Slido if you want. It's also fun.
I'm going to fetch my phone.
So where is everyone joining us from? Ellen, are you connected?
Popping in the code now.
Amazing.
Yeah, me too.
Great, Judith. Budapest. This is Sophia, I'm guessing. Hi, Sophia. Happy to have you here.
Exactly.
Here we go. Exciting. So we've got Italy, we've got Rome in Italy, we've got Lisbon in Portugal, Spain, Budapest. Very exciting. Has everyone managed to join the Slido? Is there anyone that needs some assistance joining for the following questions?
Code doesn't seem to be working, by the way. I've scanned the QR code.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I did that as well, but it's not.
The QR code doesn't work?
The QR code works. The code doesn't for the people who don't have like a smartphone to hand or a QR scanner.
Well, but Portugal. If it helps.
Sorry, what did you say, Ree?
I was saying, anyways, I'm from Portugal. So
Okay.
live
Did you not
response.
manage to join us, Rui, on Slido?
No, I can join. I'm there, but I cannot present the submission for some reason. And it's the first time it happened to me on Slido. So
That's strange.
maybe something on my phone or something like that. But that's okay.
Well, let's see. Let's
Yeah,
move on to the next slide and see how's everyone feeling today? 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, still the beginning of the week. Everyone had their morning coffees, or maybe the second coffee. How's everyone feeling today? Ready to download the information for the Enhance 2024 call to write the best applications. So we've got some energy in the room today. Mostly a 4, some 5s, no 1 stars. That's great. Okay. Sorry in advance for those who weren't able to join us. We're just going to go through this because we do have... And this is an interesting one. Without using the title of your job, tell me what you do. So beyond your job title, what do you spend most of your time actually doing? Who do you engage with? Who do you interact with? What skills are you using? What impact are you having? So we have someone who said, make mobility sustainable and accessible. We have someone who researches and who works in research and action in public space through community engagement. Very NEB. I'm curious what my team members actually have to say. Bringing people together towards achieving the same goals. Beautiful. Okay, for time purposes, let's move on to our second to last question. What are you hoping to get out of the meeting today? As you know, we're here for an info session and matchmaking session. Matchmaking perhaps not as strong as we initially intended to because of the small turnout, but we hope that we can provide you with some valuable information today. Knowledge of the new open call, that's definitely something that we'll be covering in today's meeting. Partners, knowledge, lots of knowledge to be had here. Great. And one more participant responding. More details on how to make a successful application. Yeah, so you've come to the right place, and Laura will go in detail through the application form to help you set up your proposals for success. Okay, and perhaps the most important question of the day, who's wearing pajamas? Who's honest? And who has professional integrity? So I see most people did take them off for the meeting. So professionalism is alive. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Let's move on to business on top, PJs on the bottom. Can't tell, it's anonymous, so we can't tell who's answering what, but thank you for the honesty there. Let's move on to the bulk of this meeting. Thank you for participating there, everyone.
Thanks so much, Rebecca, for preparing that. Thank you. Okay, so as you know, you already know what's the new European Bauhaus, so we're not going to tell you much more about it that you already know. But of course, in a sentence, it could be summarized as translating the Green Deal into tangible change on the ground by placing culture and citizens at the core. And how we do that in EIT Community European Bauhaus is we start with the social demand for change that exists already in towns and cities and rural areas. And from there, we have different streams of activities that can support that change. So for instance, we do have Ignite NEB events. This is kind of a soft hackathons, more open to communities rather than the strict term of hackathons that are more geared towards students and young professionals. And they are ideating together solutions for challenges that they see in the place that they live. Successful or the most promising solution that they propose. It's given a voucher to test, to keep developing that solution in a kind of living lab that it's called Grow NEB program. In that program, they're gonna get further skills and they can test their solutions. Yeah, okay, thanks. And they can test the solutions in a real environment. Then they can choose to maybe go into becoming a startup and apply into our Catalyze NEB program. This is an acceleration program that spots the startups that have that they convey the NEB values, and they can come either from Grow NEB program, or they can be applying from the scratch. So it's that our program, we try that activities lead one to another, but of course, at any time, anyone is welcome to join if they comply with the criteria. So then we also have, as you well know, the citizen engagement pillar. It's the Connect NEB and CoCreate NEB calls that all of you have they have implemented either one or the other in the past editions. And then you could apply to the Enhance NEB call, which is this one. And the idea of this call is to scale up these activities that have happened through the Connect and CoCreate, or and by scaling up, we mean either to bring those activities to the next level within the same context, or if you believe that the project is mature enough, it can be taken to elsewhere, to another location, to another city. And that's why we welcome cities, regions, or affiliated entities as new partners. Throughout all these activities, we have NEB mentors. They are professionals who are very much aligned with the values and the principles of the European Bauhaus, and they can help you, and they have help you through either the design or the business skills to hone them and to make sure you achieve the highest impact. That's through the Connect CoCreate program, also through the Enhance program, and also in the Catalyze NEB, the acceleration services for the startups. So next slide. Okay, so as I already said, this call is addressed to the EIT Community NEB partners. So all of you who have already deployed, implemented a project through through the Connect NEB or CoCreate NEB, citizen engagement or public space call, implemented during 2022 and 2023. And what is the requirements is, yes, you need to have been a partner, meaning like to have received funding from us through these calls. And you need to form a consortia of minimum 2 partners, a maximum 4. And as I said, it could be a new city, a new region, or a new affiliated entity that can join the consortia if your aim is to replicate this project elsewhere. Of course, you can also mix with other partners from other projects. That was the idea of today's too. And what else? Yes, if there is a new city that joins the consortia, they will unfortunately they cannot receive EIT funding because this is a call for partners. But yes, indeed, they can bring a funding, for instance, in the shape of personnel. Next. Okay, the scope of the activities, as you know, the European Bauhaus has defined these 4 axes, and just to recap, they came from a co-design phase that the European Bauhaus did in 2021, and that there was several activities that took place in several cities and towns around Europe, and through different types of end users and citizens and different ages and different social groups, and they group the challenges that everyone brought on the table into this for access. And that's why we always structure our calls to give a response to this for access. Is reconnecting with nature, regaining sense of community, prioritizing places and people that need it the most, and the need for long-term life cycle, so circularity. Then all activities must achieve one of the expected outcomes. Obviously, one outcome A is to higher amplify, completing the impact of the same of the project in the same location, but bringing it to the next level, having a more holistic approach, thinking what is missing in this project right now, how can I bring it beyond. And the outcome B is amplifying this impact by bringing this project elsewhere. So you believe the project is already mature enough to go as it is elsewhere. And then all the proposals must meet at least one of the three expected outputs and impact, which is you either have to provide products and services that could be including rapid prototypes, co-design of the public space, social activation and non-label education and training activities. Next. Okay, and as you have seen, you need to select two of these KPIs that we propose here. So innovation pilot scaling, it's one target, demonstration of pilot and living labs, another one target, public realm improvement, one target, funding leverage to support scale-ups, and to tackle climate change, at least for a value of €1,000, a strengthened resilience to unavoidable impacts of the climate change, and that it be measured by the number of people to support that, and be a target of 40 people. And then also there is people engage in targeted interventions, again 20 people, a number of novel solutions concepts designed, and that's to be demonstrating the potential of the impact of your solution. And then it is one, participants in non-label educational and training, 25 people, transition towards greater circularity, that really refers to the challenge number 4, and the target is 1, and contribute to environmental sustainable manufacturing, 1. Yeah, you need to pick 2 of them depending on the scope of your project, and at least 2 of them mandatory. So let's move to the next one. Project duration is up to 7 months. The call, as you know, it's open now and it will close 12th of April. Then there's evaluation process, communication of results, onboarding, and so on. So we plan to start 1st of June and finish end of December. It will have 2 mandatory deliverables, intermediate and final report. So we will award 8 projects, and it's a maximum of EIT funding of 40,000 per project, and co-funding is compulsory at 20% of the total costs. So, and here we do have examples of if the total cost of the project is 50K, EIT funding is 40, co-funding is 10K. If the total cost of the project is 70, still EIT funding will be 40K. It just means that you will bring a higher funding than required, which is 20K. Just to say, it doesn't mean that each each partner needs to bring the same co-funding. It's that the average should be 20%, okay? And then financial sustainability, it's not a must that you need to commercialize products, for instance, but we do aim for long-lasting effects, meaning that we aim to see that this project has secured some streams of funding beyond our grant, and that's what we will ask you to plan for. How can you ensure the continuity of this project beyond December 2024? Next. Proposal submissions, of course, it has to go through Plaza. Only a letter of affiliation, if applicable, it's only for those affiliated entities to a city or a region that they need to provide this letter of affiliation. And if they are new partners, if they had already been working with us, we already have this information. And all the proposals are expected to be including a good description on the proposed solution, a methodology to be piloted, a good reasoning behind why is this a good project to replicate, scale up, who would benefit, how they're going to shift the goals, and by whom is this going to be a shift, right? And then a good description always about the end user engagement plan. We like to see you target specific audiences and how are you going to engage with them. Description of the performance metrics to be used, so you can objectively assess the 3 pillars of the European Bauhaus: sustainability, inclusivity, and aesthetic values. And this has to be done by how you define the challenge that they should include the 3 values, and how the solution also have embedded those values and principles. Therefore, you need to find a way to measure the success of this solution, and specifically how you can measure the achievement of those values. And we know this is hard, especially on the aesthetic value, but please pay attention to that, because we often, once the proposal are awarded, we often have to say it's conditionally awarded, depending on you to define further the metrics on the aesthetics value. So please pay attention to define the 3 of them. And a description of the potential economic impact and time frame beyond the project. That's what I was talking before. This is going to be assessed. And we'd like to see a brief strategic plan, outline of the business plan for the longer term, maybe identifying other streams of funding, or explaining how data could be used, exploit for marketing or sales. That's just a few examples of how can you achieve it, but of course it's down to you to think about it and define what's the most suitable way to do so in your project. So cities and regions and affiliated entities must provide at least one of the following options in the proposal. Yes, option A, an approved public realm, infrastructure or availability of the public space. So it's actually a physical space where the project can take place, or a reference to an approved official local strategic document, and an explanation on why or how, at what level the project contributes to achieve the targets of this document, including a realistic and achievable plan. It's not just to mention that we are connected to this strategic plan. It's how this project is helping the strategic plan to achieve their goals, or how does it take it even beyond. Next. Okay, call calendar. Yeah, we launched the call 26th of February. The deadline is 12th of April at 5. I'm sure Anne-Laure will explain, but please don't leave it to the last minute. There is always, every year, someone submits 2 minutes after the deadline, and we have to decline. We have to say sorry. We can't accept it. And you know, Plaza, we know it's not a friendly user platform, and we will be changing it soon. But for the moment, it's what we have, and it can incur many errors or things that you don't expect to go as it will go. So please allow yourself a lot of time to complete and submit the application, okay? Then we will do the eligibility and admissibility check. So basically, we need to check that all the proposals comply with the minimum requirements. For instance, you know, that there are 2 partners of minimum, maximum 4, all within EU or associated countries. Well, obviously, all have to be partners of European Bauhaus previous calls, Connect and CoCreate, and new cities, regions, or affiliated entities if they wanted to join the consortia. Quality evaluation of the proposal will be around April, May. The communication results, beginning of May, and tentative start of the projects will be June. Total EIT funding available is 320,000, and it's because we will award 8 projects with 40K each. Okay, maybe Anne-Laure now wants to take over.
Yes, good morning, everyone. But before we I start with all the processes part, maybe you have some questions about the content, actually, to Maria. Before we move on, we are a little bit late, but we can still take some questions. No problem. Yes.
May I ask something?
Estelle, okay. First, we had a question from, I don't know the name, Rio Neva.
Hi. Yes, sorry. It's I think it's the name of the NGO. My name is Rui.
Rui,
I don't know who was first.
I think you were first, Rui.
But just 2 questions. Okay, thank you. So I think I'll be quick. 2 questions. On the outcomes, A and B, essentially, they are about either the same location, increased impact or whatever, or different location with the same rationale. What do you specifically mean with this? I mean, for example, for our case, we have focused on our previous initiative on a specific river water mill, and we are still considering at the moment if we should just extend to other water mills along the river, for example, or just keep on the same one, but different ways of working on the area. This is the same location, new location. So this is the how do you consider this, or if it's up to us, to think about it. And second question, just about the financial sustainability mechanism. I know this is a quite broad question, but do you have in your mind any examples or idea that you are thinking about what could this mechanism be about? Just so we can think a bit more about this in the concrete terms. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So basically, whether it's the same location or not, we had sometimes projects that they extend very close to where they had started in the past editions. But then you need to make sure that the impact that you're having with this project is higher. So it's not about doing exactly the same second time and see what happens. It's about, okay, now then if I am staying more or less very close to the initial location, what else can I introduce to the project to have a higher impact? what was left out in the first edition that we couldn't do it because of time or because of budget, or after this time looking back, we thought, okay, what was really missing is, I don't know, for instance, to engage another target of social groups to because we wanted to have a more another co-designed solution that later on could be used by a wider community. I'm just talking loud, but does that resonates with you? Yeah, sure. Then regarding the potential economic impact, like financial sustainability, is again the aim of it is that we would like to have a longer impact of this project beyond the grant. So basically, we'd like to see what's your strategy when this project finish in December 2024? How do you plan to continue these activities? And then it's like, maybe it's okay, I have identified other streams of funding that this project could continue in this way, that way, if we apply here and there, or I am planning to continue this project this way and that way because we're doing another partnership with these people or this other town hall. So it's about also maybe how you plan to exploit the data that you will collect through the project. How can you build upon it? What could you do with it? I think there are several options there, and it's about outlining the vision you have that you could do after December. Is that more
So
clear?
just to confirm about this last aspect. So when you say financial sustainability mechanism, you are not necessarily looking for something very specific, detailed plan, but actually mostly an overview of some ideas, because I mean, throughout the time frame, things can change in a way, can be enriched.
Yes.
How detailed
yes.
you want it to be.
Yes, and I have to say that the more specific you are, the higher score you'll get in the assessment. If you have a very clear vision and you know exactly what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, which is the timeline you're going to achieve it, we say, okay, he does have a very clear vision, a strategic down to detail, therefore you'll get maximum score. If you just vaguely mention something, then okay, you will not get a 0, but maybe you get a 1 or 2. You know what I mean? Okay, thanks. Estelana.
Yes, hello. I would like to ask a question concerning the partner organization that we need to have, and we are thinking of a municipality. So to attract a new municipality that has not been part of the previous project, neither of the program. So do we need to submit any documents from them? It's the whole municipality, is not just affiliated entity.
No, well, they will have to register in Plaza as a partner, because if they're not registered in Plaza, then when you will, as a lead partner, submit the proposal, you will not be able to select them as partners if they haven't registered before. So that is important. And then as such, when they do the registration, they will have to bring details as their PIF number and so on. That if they don't do so, then it's something that we will chase you afterwards for it, but better that they do it on the spot. And they only need to provide a letter of affiliation if they are affiliated entity to a city or region. then those companies that they are owned partially or totally by a city or region, they could apply as a partner too, but then they need to prove that they have this legal link with a city or partner. So this is when they need to provide a letter of affiliation, otherwise they don't. I don't know, Anne-Laure, if you want to add something in terms of what do they need to do as a new city to join.
Yeah, no, actually, so that's correct. They no need to send a letter because they are actually a city or a municipality in this case. But the very important part of after the stage of the registration, etc., when you draft your proposal, these new cities or municipality can request for EIT funding. Okay, because we really concentrate the grant to the existing partners. So in this case, they need to bring a budget. They need to bring they need to have a role, and they're gonna have a role, budget associated. They bring co-funding, but they can't request for EIT funding. So that's a bit the particularities of these new partners. We want to give the chance to new entities to join, to really capitalize and bring the project to the next level, but in this case we can't give them additional grants. That's on top of the existing partners. Okay.
Yes, thank you. I understood that part about their financial contribution and
okay,
contribution to the project. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Mariana.
Hi, I have a question also regarding the partners, just to make it clear. The minimum is 2 partners, but those 2 partners have to be financially supported previously via Bauhaus initiative, or it can be one that participated like us on the CoCreate and then a new municipality, for example.
Yes, it can be a new municipality. Okay. So it has to be 2 partners, minimum of 2 partners, and one of them have to be a city. Then, therefore, it's either a city that have already contributed to a former project, or it can be a new city, region, or affiliated entity.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, good. Happy that we have cleared some doubts, and now maybe, Anne-Laure, you can continue.
Yeah, I'm gonna move on. Okay, so sorry, I didn't present myself. So I'm Anne, part of the PMO Program Management Office at EIT Urban Mobility. I think we've been in touch with some of you already, so I'm gonna go through the process quickly because you probably know it already. But you can also explain to your new partners, the new entities that will join, that there is actually a process, a transparent process for the evaluation and the selection. That starts with the eligibility and admissibility check. That's why this is very crucial that you understand the rules of participation, because otherwise this is a step. If you don't comply with the very first one, your proposal won't be sent to the quality evaluation. Okay, so that's very important to bear in mind those criteria that we have 8 in front of you. So of course it's to submit your proposal on time and not after the deadline. And when we say after the deadline, it's 1 minute after the deadline. It's already too late. Take into account the registration of the applicants. So every entity that join needs to have a PIC number and a PIF. I will explain this later. Eligibility of applicants, what exactly Maria explained to you already about this, where the entity comes from, so from the list, the previous project, and from EU countries, the consortium composition, this declaration of affiliation, just in case this is needed, so for new affiliated entities to a city or to a region, and you actually have a template for that on the website that entity are encouraged to use. The co-funding rate, 20% across the project. KPI addressed, as Maria explained, so at least 2 are mandatory from the list. And the deliverables. This is a little bit like a business as usual. We always ask you for an intermediate report and a final report. So when we go through this check and we say, look, yes, your proposal is eligible, we send it to the quality evaluation. I'm going to take control, sorry, so I can move on. And the quality evaluation is actually organized, assessed by 3 experts evaluators. So we're going to have an external expert plus internal experts from the KICs who will assess your proposals based on the excellence, impact, and implementation. So these are defined in the evaluation criteria on the available on the call manual. You can take a look, and we will explain this again today. They work, so they do their individual assessment, and they send this individual assessment to a rapporteur. This person will actually compile the 3 different assessment of your proposal, and he will or she will prepare a summary evaluation report compiling the 3 assessment and give a final agreed score up to 70 points. Okay, this will be discussed in a consensus meeting, so there will be a transparent process in this case where the final score and the comment will be really agreed across the evaluation panel. And if your proposal is successful, then I'm sorry. We will just make a short pause just to explain you actually the evaluation criteria. Maria will jump in. They are explained and they are available in the call manual, but Maria will just highlight maybe the more relevant one or maybe the more critical one. And so you can really understand what we expect and what actually the evaluators will look into when they will assess your proposal. So Maria, I take you the floor.
Yeah,
give you the
thanks,
floor.
Anne-Laure. We wanted to put attention in there because one exercise that it's good is if when you have the application done, if you print it out and give it somebody else to your organization and they go through this questionnaire of evaluation as if they were an external evaluator, you'd see if it really complies, if it really matches what we're asking for, right? So it's very important that the objectives are smart. We all know about it. We want to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. As I said before, the more details, the more specific, the more concrete you are, the higher score you're going to get. And then it's very important that you integrate the 3 NEB values. At this stage, you know them very well. But again, it has to be they should be there present from the start of the definition of the challenge to the proposing of a solution. And then, of course, it has to provide clear description of the project as strategic importance and reasons to scale up. So basically, why do we want to fund this project? What's the gain that they would have, the society may benefit from? If it's staying in the same location, what does it bring as an added value from the previous edition? And if it's going elsewhere, why elsewhere? Why is there a social demand in this new location for this project? And then, of course, we also look into how is an innovative step forward regarding the current state of art. And as I already said, how is this relevant for society, target group, or market? And then at least you need to include 2 target groups, a very specific, who are your audiences, why are you targeting these 2 social groups or more? I mean, sometimes if you focus in in very vulnerable groups, maybe the target is reduced and smaller, but then explain why. Sometimes when you design for the most vulnerable, then that solution is inclusive for all the rest. So all these type of reflections is that we'd like to see. Next. Well, as you said, the evaluation is arranged in 3 pillars. The first is excellence, the second is impact. And here we have that proposal we want to be, again, the target of specific audiences. We want to pay attention to gender, diversity, and inclusion, and how aims to be achieved during the pilot. It provides a clear dissemination and communication strategy that we want to see how is your communication plan, how you're planning to engage with the audiences before the project, before the activities take place, so to raise awareness during the activities, afterwards, how do you collect feedback, how does that effects, or how you include the feedback into your design. Again, the impacts have to be clearly defined and measurable. And again, here is one that it's and I think I had already said that before. We want to know the metrics on how you evaluate sustainability, inclusivity, and aesthetic value. And then the proposal demonstrates the relevance of the benefits to the city, how is this, again, I said that before, how these proposals fits into the local strategy, how this proposal helps the local strategy to achieve their goals or bring them even beyond. And the economic impact, it's the financial sustainability question, that one, okay? So how do you plan to ensure the continuation of this project beyond this grant? How do you secure future streams of funding, or how do you outline your strategy, your business plan beyond this grant to continue providing impact? And then number 3, obviously, is the implementation and quality and efficiency of the project. If you have a work plan, a structure considering the tasks, deliverables, outcomes, outputs is aligned with objectives and results. If you have a clear risk assessment and contingency plan, and if the proposal describes management structures, specifying the team's experience and the role. We do not ask for CVs, but we would like to see how do you structure your team, if whether you have to name whether you have a communication person or whether you have a senior manager that oversees the project, a junior assistant that does the workshops, a person that does the engagement. How do you structure? And how these people bring their experience as well. Like, okay, this person has 10 years of experience in there and there. So it's not like we ask for CVs, but we do ask to prove that a bit description of the experience that you can bring on the table and how the team is coordinated. The proposal budget is clearly outlined, and you propose good value for money, basically. And that's it.
And that's it. So if you are completely successful and you have the highest very good score, your proposal will be sent to the second stage. So will be selected. Of course, not all the proposal will have this chance. Only proposal ranking at above the threshold, so 50 points, okay, can be selected, and of course, depending on the budget that is available. And potentially you will be selected with a list of strategy conditions that for funding that are mandatory in order for your proposal to be selected and moving forward. So after we conclude with this conditions clearing phase, you will actually receive the final communication. So we actually check that your proposal is meeting the conditions. We send the official communication, and then your project can start. In parallel, the onboarding and the contracting phase will also take place. It's going to be very straightforward in the sense that you're already partner. You already actually signed the contract for the 3 years. So this is something that will be very smooth process. For the new entities, of course, they will start the process from scratch, but otherwise the process for you existing partners will be very short in this case. And the project can start, as we said, we expect at the beginning of June. So how to register? So again, I'm not going to go through the very detail because most of you have already a PIC, a PIF, etc. But it's important, of course, for the new entities that will join, share the message that they need to obtain the PIC if they don't have any PIC already. Okay, so they can click on this link and obtain it. It's really no more than 10 minutes. They would just need to provide some information about the organization. And sorry, yeah, no,
After.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay, no worries. So they can follow the steps. It's also explained in the guidelines for applicants that you can find already on the call website. So take the time. It's a couple of pages explanation. It's very straightforward, but tell them that they need to do it as soon as possible and don't wait, because this is the first step. The second is actually to go through Plaza and do this registration that you also know well. It's not taking it too much time, but there is a manual step in here. Our colleagues from the help desk are doing the validation of those registrations. So if you do the process late, of course, those partners won't be able to be included in your proposal, and this will delay the submission, of course. So that's why we always say do it as soon as possible, even though you are not even sure that the entity will submit or will be part of the consortium, but at least this is saved. And when it's done for the entire, all the activities that you will do with us in the future. And finally, the third is to complete, whenever they have access to Plaza, they will complete the partner information form. It's actually just information about the organization, but also we need to understand what are the types, so an affiliated entity, a city, a municipality in this case, from which country, because of course we need to make sure that those partners are eligible, and we actually use the PIF to check this information. So just a message for you existing partners, in case you have changed your legal status, the country, I'm sure it won't be the case, but we never know about the structure of your organization, update your PIF, your existing PIF in this case. Yes, I can take Simone's question.
Sorry, Magali, Simone join us now. Okay. I had a few questions about, is it still possible to include subcontractors in this call?
Yes, so it is possible. It is always possible, but subcontracting needs to be carefully justified, because of course this type of project are small in terms of budget contribution. So we really don't want to see an entire task or a big part of the project going to the subcontractor. So it's not written in stone, but it's usually we say, look, no more than about 15% of your total budget. No more than that should go to a subcontractor. Then, of course, it depends on the type of activity. But think that this is not, and the subcontracting shouldn't go to a very core task of your project. This is something that you as a partner are not able to do yourself, and you need the help of an external entity. But this is really just to complement what you need to do in your project.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I had a second question about co-funding. When we apply, should we include can we include a first partner, okay, which co-fund or can we add later another one?
What do you mean later? At what stage?
We are starting to connect with potential funder, but when we apply, should we're not sure of a second one, okay, and can we add to the 20% another one later during the process?
So you mean in case your project is selected?
Yes.
Okay. So I think there are two questions here. Can you add a partner regardless of the so there are two things. The co-funding is a mandatory field. So if you're below the 20% at the moment of the submission, you won't be eligible in this case. So you will have a few days to correct this, but if you are still below, you won't be eligible to continue. Okay, so first things. The second is about adding a partner. Adding a partner, of course, it's always better, and you have to do it before the submission, because this is part of the process and want to have the complete overview. It's when the project is selected, you might have changes during the project implementation. This means you can change partner. This might happen. Adding a new partner will never mean adding additional EIT funding allocation. So you will need to do, imagine you need an additional partner to do something. If this is accepted, you will need to request it officially through a change in your project. You won't be able to request additional EIT funding in this case for that. So the message is you have a bit of time now to 1 month ahead. So really take the time to look for your partners, make sure they are in now, and because afterwards it's going to be more difficult. Of course, if this is a new city that doesn't bring any co-funding, that doesn't ask any EIT request, EIT funding, is going to be less problematic, okay? But the co-funding rate needs to be compliance at the moment of the submission. So it's not that you add a partner afterwards just to comply with the co-funding, because you need the co-funding rate compliance at the time of the submission. So I don't know if I answer your question well, or...
Thank you. It's very clear of this. And the last one is more about in the document of the call, it's about the triangle of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's a new concept, or can we provide only one part about knowledge, and could be a school, a preschool, or something like it? Or is that mandatory to get the two sides of this triangle that I discovered in the document? As for you,
I think, Maria, maybe you can take this one.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I have understood well. Can you rephrase, please?
It was about the triangle of knowledge. I guess it's a new, it's a new concept that you integrate in the core with the three sides. Okay, and could it be only one, like preschool or community of educators, or shall we include a researcher or something like that?
Yeah, it aims to include the educational knowledge into the activity, and therefore in every project would have a specific angle. We don't go into detail whether it should be researcher or through university, or you know, every project can find their most suitable angle to ensure that it has educational activities included in the project.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
I think we clear all the questions, and you may wish to continue.
Okay, great. So continuing quickly, so you know the Plaza platform already. The call is open. You can go through if you are curious and really want to start drafting your proposal. You click on Enhance NEB Call 2024. And this is going to be the application form. So there is no big changes, but we're trying to simplify a bit the structure, and I'm going to explain you now. You have 7 tabs to complete, actually from 0 to 6, considering tab 4 doesn't apply, so it's going to be in any case inactivated. And tab 6 is optional. It depends if you need to add supporting files, meaning declaration of affiliation, or optional some annexes. So starting with the tab 0, no changes, but make sure you select the correct area, the intending execution period also, and then SNAP, June-December 2024, and the segment 9.30. Because, of course, if you don't do that, you are applying to a different call. So that's really a big drama, of course. It's going to be a big problem. So take a look. It's also explained in the guidelines, so you can always take the time, look into what you see. There is a drop-down menu anyway, so it's hard to make mistakes, but still important to focus here. And then you continue with your title, acronym. The start end date will be automatically filled in, and the project description, that's important because if you have funding, we will use this description for public dissemination. Of course, we will go back to you at that point to make sure what is included is not confidential and can be disclosed. Save and check, or check and save, that's going to be your the final step. You will always need to validate when you want to move on with across the tabs. So you will, whenever you finish your first tab, you always save, and then you check and save to activate the following tabs. Okay, this is a bit basic things, but some applicants are stuck sometimes and they can't move on because of that. That's a very silly part, but please remember of doing that to move on. Contact tab 1, there is no changes. So actually here you have to identify who is going to be the lead partner. So who's going to be the coordinator of your proposal and who will be either the additional partner, 1 or 2. So in total, you will have up to 4 partners, as you know, minimum 2. All of them need to be filled, need to be in this list, need to be identified actually here under the list of involved organization, even, of course, especially even if they are new cities or affiliated cities, okay? And if you can't find them on the list, this means that they are not registered in Plaza. So that's the loop, right? The first is registration, and that's why you will be able to scroll down from the list and find them. You can also assign co-editors, but be careful with that because this means they will have access to your proposal. So it's good because it's interactive and it's a collaborative way of drafting proposal, but it can also be a problem if you are all at the same time. Tab number 2, this is where we go through the questions of your project. But here we try to simplify because, as you know, Plaza is setting in a way that is common to all our calls. But of course, the new European Bauhaus type of calls are a little bit more targeted and with very specific questions. So we're trying to simplify, as I said, tab number 2. The reasoning here is always to go through the question mark icon, where you can actually read what, as a help desk, what you are expected to. In the guidelines, it's also explained, and you can also use this little explanation, what we are expecting you from each field. Where it is here written not applicable, this is because we are addressing these questions in tab 3, where you really concentrate on writing down your proposal in tab 3, okay? But there are still some questions that you will need to address in this tab. So clearly it's written here, right? In this tab 2, you will need to explain the purpose of your project and the work plan. The work plan, you can see there is here a long, huge number of characters, but we are just expecting you no more than 3,000 characters, okay? So concentrate really on drafting a short explanation of your work plan, including a bit the structure, how the deliverable milestones, output outcomes will be interacted and linked to your project objectives and expected results. And as I said, the other questions, we go to the tab number 3. So the problem with Plaza is that we can't leave an empty field. So in this case, just write down this is not applicable as per the guidelines or something like that. You just make sure there is something written and you can move on with the save and then check and save. We continue with this tab number 2. Here you will need to display your the role of your planners. And you, of course, the lead partner, but also the participating entities, the role, the skills, expertise, what they're going to do, the key output. So here you decide based on the output from the call manual. Deliverables, as we said, minimum 2. So those mandatory. We don't expect you to actually add more, but it's up to you. If you believe you need 1 additional, 2 additional, I mean, they are very small, very short period of implementation, so we don't expect you to, submit more. But if you believe this is important for your project implementation, you can add additional deliverables in this case. Adding, clicking on the green cross button here. We move on with tab number 2 with actually the KPIs. You know them quite well already because there were no changes from past editions, but it's important to remember that 2 from the list that you will see on the call manual are mandatory, okay? You can decide to have 8.1, for instance, so number of participants in education and training activities, and have 1 KSN number 1, KSN number 2, or other KPIs that you have listed in the document, or just having KSA 1, 2. It's really depend on the scope of your project. And that may need to make sense, of course, the type of the activity you are proposing. And you put next to it who is contributing, the target value, so how many, and you continue with the risk management. You also detail your risk management, an explanation, and the description, etc. And finally, to finalize the tab number 2, the same reasoning here. Some majority of the questions are not applicable, but some are still there. So you explain how you will organize your team to actually have a proper execution of your project. You also have to explain the ethics and security. Most of the time, there are nothing to report, but that's important that we understand if there is something. And the rest, not applicable, you will go to tab number 3. Check and save, and we continue. These are keywords, so minimum of 3, maximum of 5, either. So you can have 3. So in this case, self-defined keywords. It really helps to the scope of your project. And you also have predefined keywords. They come from the European Commission database, and you need to pick up from the list what is also what fit best with a project scope. Finally, the project-specific information. And here, this is where we really go into the details of your project, and that is linked to all the different questions, also the evaluation criteria. So you select which challenge I am applying to. So the first one, the most relevant one, then the second one, if applicable, the second most relevant. Then you decide your outcome, either A or B. So it's going to be a display. It's going to be a drop-down menu. Reference to an approved official local strategic document, only if applicable. You select the outcome, and then if this is the case of a new location, you can also explain, okay, so where it's going to be the project taking place, in which new location, and you identify your output. So here you at least one output, but you can, of course, decide to have the 2, the 3, or 2. It's really up to you. And then we go through the different questions. Sorry, it's very small, but in any case, it's also, again, in the guidelines for applicants, and we will share this presentation and these slides. But basically, you need to address all of them. And you will need to, it's directly linked to the evaluation questions. So you go through it one by one by editing the questions with the edit button, and you save. And when you finish, you check and save. You can always go back in case you've done the check and save and you want to go back to your questions, or something isn't, well, whatever, it's still a draft and you want to reread, to write it again. You can always go back to this step and edit. There's always a button at the top corner, right top corner of your screen, when you can always edit. And then we continue with the budget. So the budget is organized per task. You always have an activity management task, which is pre-filled. So you click on it in this case, and you enter the task title, the description, who is actually, so the duration of this task, in this case, activity management, is for the entire project implementation. Is there any related deliverables? So you select, and you actually include the budget. And this is going to be how the budget will look like. So there is no changes from previous edition. You need to go through all the cost categories. It's per partner, per task, and per cost categories. Okay, so if you have a doubt on what are the cost categories, of course, they are here. Explain. You can always rely on our eligibility of expenditure documents available on the call webpage. We actually follow the Horizon Europe program rules. So it's, the same, the usual suspects in terms of personnel, subcontracting. As I said, it's possible with some limit, travel and subsistence equipment, other goods and services. And then the D1, D2, so financial support to third parties and internal invoices, much likely not the case of your type of project. It's just in case you are including some price, you are giving money to external entity. This is possible, but we need to understand how you're going to do that. And internally invoice, this is really for the big universities or research center when they have internal invoices between different departments. Indirect cost is 25% on top of AC cost, basically personnel, travel, equipment, and other goods and services. And then you have to add under sources the contribution you're co-funding. Okay, it is a minimum of 20% across the project. Okay, so you can decide, okay, I'm putting everything under management in my case, and the other tasks are not bringing any co-funding, or I'm not bringing any co-funding, but my other partners are actually bringing up to 20%. You can also add more than 20%. It's going to be positively assessed. You can organize yourself as you wish, but important is you put the amount. You enter either the partner on funding, or if it is coming from the non-EIT sources, national, regional, or the funding, and the EIT funding is automatically calculated. Okay, you check and save as always, and you move on. You will do this for every task and every project. And at the end, we need a budget justification. This is going to be at project level. So this is what Maria was explaining. So we don't ask for CVs, but we need to understand who is behind, who is the team. We don't need more than the status and the type and what they're going to do, but we need to understand a little bit, of course, for the evaluators to assess if this is, you know, in line with your work plan, the best value for money, and this makes sense. So yes, just a brief explanation is enough. And we finish with the tab number 6, which is supporting evidence. In this case, again, it's only if applicable, only if declaration of affiliation available, the template is in the website, only for new entity affiliated to a city or to a region. And in case you would like to bring some annexes like figures, photos, graphics, you can always put them as well. And when you're ready and you've done, so you always save your application, and whenever you are ready to submit, this is how to proceed. So you click on back to list, and they will say, are you sure you want to save? Yes, I want to save, and I want just to continue working on it, or I want to continue and I want to do the submission, and this will be the step. So you will see your proposal code in the list of Plaza, and you will actually click on submit. Are you sure you want to submit your proposal? And this is important to understand that if you do that after the submission, you won't be able to edit any longer your proposal. So this is one shot, one possibility to submit, and after that, it's too late, even though it's done before the deadline. Okay. You will receive so the project leader will actually draft the proposal, and submit, will receive a confirmation email that yes, in the email address you use, that the proposal is actually submitted. And just a few tips, and I finish here. Remember about the check and save, because if you are blocked in the process, this is probably because you haven't done this step in order to move on with the different tabs. Declaration of honor only if applicable, but this is part of the eligibility check. Register, update the data of your organization in Plaza as soon as possible. And of course, before you submit your proposal, make sure you comply with the call requirements. Of course, you comply, you send a complete proposal in English. It happened that we receive a proposal in other language than English, and of course this is not curable. We can't change that, and the proposal in this case is not eligible, so it's going to be really a pity. It's submitted by the project leader before the deadline, and all the consortium partners have the registration done. And don't wait until the end. Really, we know, you know that we always tend to be okay, I have time, and then there is some technical issue last minute, and then you miss the deadline. So this will be really a pity for you and for your consortium. So really ask for help if you need. Of course, we are here to support you as well. And you can read the guidelines for applicants where everything is written, but a little bit more extended. That's it. I just leave some contact details here. And I think if you have any questions, we can take them or move on. Yes?
Rui, go on.
Hi, thank you. 2 questions. So just to be clear about the maximum amount of characters, where should we guide as because on some of the boxes there are the limits on the left column, but on some cases, it's within the actual text box. So it's just that we know for sure where we should guide us out on that.
This is actually a good point, because in tab 2, somewhere else it's written, and whenever there is, so I can give you an example here. Okay, so whenever it's not applicable, of course it's not applicable, but whenever you see here maximum 1000 characters, it's of course the maximum requirements. The only difference in tab 2, for instance, is, I'm sorry, it's here. One.
But for the work plan, I think it's here.
Exactly. It's just because of a limitation of Plaza. So don't forget about the 12,000 characters. You go this way. I've put it like in red. In this case, we really expect a short work plan for this type of projects. Okay, so this is going to be the maximum.
So the work plan is the exception?
The work plan is the exception, yes.
Okay, that was the best question.
The rest, yes, then the rest actually are not applicable, so you don't care, and you concentrate on what is in tab 3. What is true, and I realized that the system is prepared for some character limitation, but it's not written in the core here, but we do have some limitation anyway. So I would try to see if I can add this into either the guidelines or directly into the application form. So you know exactly how many characters are we expecting next to each of the questions. I take it. Mm-hmm.
If I recall, I think you need to click edit to see the limits of characters on that case. So just to move on quickly, my second and last question, sorry, about the budget, because I don't recall in previous submission on the Plaza that the budgets had to be per task. Maybe it was, I just don't remember. So when we do the work plan and we propose some tasks, whatever they are, so our budget has to follow exactly those tasks, or is something more broad like task implementation? Some advice on this, please.
It has to be in line with your work plan, of course. So don't be, I mean, we are talking about 7 project duration, so 7 months of project duration. So, you know, be very straightforward in the number of tasks, be also coherent. You know, there is this activity management task, of course, but then linked to your objective. I don't know, 1, 2, 3 tasks, additional tasks maybe are enough. And then this is your work plan, and you, from all the tasks you have defined, you put the budget and the partner contribution to it. So of course they need to be aligned, the tasks with the work plan that you have submitted and you propose. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, I was just, because on some cases you also call it activity, which is the broader thing than the specific management activity, than the task. So I was also trying to figure out the naming that we should follow more precisely. But I think
we use the activity slash.
It's just a question of naming, nothing more.
Yeah. So in this case, we use sorry, because sometimes it's your voice goes and goes and it's not crystal clear. But in any case, in activity, so maybe I can show you here. Okay, we're talking about activity management. This is one of the tasks of your project, and this is basically the task of the project management. Okay, another task could be. But I don't know, because I'm anticipating, but I don't know, like the communication activity. So you have a plan where you will organize all your activities, and one of the tasks will be really to develop your dissemination plan, and you know, and organize your events and these kind of things. And then you have another task. So the tasks for us are like the work packages. Okay, at Horizon Europe. And just so you know, this is something we're gonna change in the forthcoming months. We're going to change the platform. We're still using Plaza. No worries. But if your project will be successful, we'll probably run to a new platform, and we will change slightly the definition, because we want to be more aligned also with Horizon Europe in this case. Okay. Clear? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Or I know we are a bit late. Sorry about that. No. In any case, feel free to contact us, me, Maria, if you have any doubts in the coming days. Rebecca, I stop sharing, or I stop taking control. I leave it to you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I think we're going to move towards the presentations, right, Rebecca?
Yeah, exactly. I think due to time constraints, we're going to go directly to our partner presentations. And Paloma, I think we can start with Elderly on Track.
Great. Thank you so much, Rebecca and Maria. So yeah, I'll be quick. So Elderly on Track was a project that happened in 2022, and it was a citizen engagement project. The objective was to identify and test and evaluate safe, comfortable, and healthy walking routes for elderly people in Rubí in order to encourage their active mobility, but also be more inclusive with this community and improve their physical and mental well-being. It was developed through 2 participatory workshops. So the first one included an analysis of the area with mapping exercises and just hearing the elderly people in regards to what they thought about walkability in their area. And we ended up with this diagnosis maps, but also they chose 3 different routes from 3 different areas in Rubí. Rubí is like half an hour from Barcelona in Spain. And then on the second workshop, we walked the routes that they selected to test them and analyze them more practically. And the results, I would say, were having these safe, comfortable, and healthy walking routes that the elderly people could walk recurrently, and also creating an active mobility network of elderly people. A lot of these people were craving this, and they didn't have this. And at least when we finished the project, they aim to continue it. But we also created a good practices report that not only it had our methodology for citizen engagement and how we carried out the workshops and the materials that we used, but also the routes that were selected, the diagnosis of the area, and it also had a set of design parameters for walking routes for elderly people. So if anybody was trying to design a walking route that was elderly friendly in any city, they could go to our parameters and see what they need to do when they design this. Here I'm attaching an article about the project and also the graphic report that we created. This is some images of it. You can go to the next slide, Rebecca, thank you. And basically, our future goals is we would like to enhance it in quite a different way. So probably in a very different city with a very different environment, or maybe with a different community as well. We've already sort of scaled up this project in another project called Elders, where we focus on elderly people that live in urban and rural areas and integrating these 2 groups. So we are keen to continue to explore different communities of elderly people and how to engage them, or a very, very different environment to Rubí. The other idea I have is to bring the Elderly on Track methodology and the findings to another project and do some sort of merge. So we would be looking for a partner, either for our project or their project. It could be a city or it could be another organization like us. Yeah, and that's it. And that's my contact details if you want to get in touch. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks so much, Paloma. Sorry, go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, thank you, Paloma. I think we've got your email here. We'll send the PowerPoint presentation to everyone afterwards. So if anyone sees any potential synergies or collaboration, feel free to reach out to Paloma. So next up we have Mariana.
Hello. Hi, so my name is Mariana, thanks. And I'm representing Reis do Chão. That is an office that is specialized in architecture, urbanism, and participation. And we mainly design solutions that support entities to create, public entities to create inclusive, democratic, resilient, and sustainable cities. And we have been developing projects for urban regeneration and qualification of public or community spaces. And we do it through inclusive processes of participation that we think that the impact is that they promote social cohesion and they improve trust in institutions. The next slide, please. So for the CoCreate NEB, we developed a participatory process for a community park in Cabra Figa in Cascais, Portugal. Next, please. So a group of residents had a proposal to the municipal participatory budget. Their proposal was to transform this space, that is this triangle a bit on the right. So they were proposing to transform this space into a community park. And we asked the municipality and the residents if we could design the park through a participatory process. So since the budget was decided participatory with community engagement, it made sense for everyone. I think that the implementation was also done through community engagement. Next slide, please. So we did, for this project, we did 6 sessions with different tools to ask the residents what they needed and how did they imagine the park. So these are some photographs of those 6 sessions and the number of participants. And the next slide, so I'll show one example of one of the sessions. We worked on prioritizing the elements of the park. Next slide, please. Sorry, I don't know if it's passing. Yeah, thanks. So in the previous sessions to this one, the community had made a kind of a wish list of the programs, the uses, the amenities that the park should have. And in this session, we created this tool where we asked the community to prioritize those elements or equipments of the park. And we needed to prioritize them because of budget constraints. So with this tool, each element had a size. So I don't know if you can see, but like each for example, the first one that is a bench has a very small size because it's cheaper. And then if you see the last orange on the second column is a trampoline that has a larger size because it's more expensive. And in groups, the community was asked to fill up this bar that is on the bottom of this tool, of this poster, to fill up with these parts, and to be able, they would be able to fill in this line below that represents the whole budget that we had. So then people would have to prioritize according to a budget limit that we had, what was important for the park. So next. So we did different iterations of the project. It's not showing up, I don't know why, but okay. So we did different iterations of the project to respond as much as possible, and we did within the existing budget, of course, to the needs and the ambitions of the community. And then these projects were discussed in different sessions. And next slide, please. Then I just bring some numbers. That in all the process we had more than 100 participants. We tried that it's as inclusive as possible. So there were 48% of women, 41% of 4 to 14 years old. So we went to schools and asked kids what did they think about the project. So we're designing a house on the tree, because that was something that came up a lot on the drawings of the kids. And we asked people after the session, so 100% of people like to participate, 85% and thought that the sessions were well organized, 90% thought that they had enough information to give an informed decision about the park, and 100% felt that they could express their opinion freely, that it's something that it's important for us during the sessions. So next, we are continuing developing the design now with the municipality, asking for the necessary permits, and also still in touch with the community to communicate and to ask for more questions during the process. And next, just final, I think as a future project, we would like to replicate this project in Portugal or in other countries. I think this idea of being an implementation implementation of a participatory budget, it's interesting. So if that's something that exists in other countries, we know that in Portugal it exists in other cities, so we would really be interested in that. And we would like to develop this methodology, maybe trying to make it even more inclusive. That's something that we really tried on this one, but I think there's still scope to make it better. And in terms of the consortium partner, I think a municipality that is working on improving the city public spaces that may have a participatory budget and that it's interested, of course, in developing citizen participation and co-design. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. Simon, I think you wanted to present next. I know you don't have visuals. If you wanted to share your screen to accompany with visuals, otherwise verbally is also fine. You're muted. Simon, you're muted. I can't hear you, Simon. You've got your microphone muted.
Magali, are you there? If you look in the, oh, there we go.
Here we are.
Here we are. We present a Platea project, which took place in Rome. But I see that Neshrin from Horizontale, partner of this project, joined the info session. They've been working for more than 10 years in this place. So maybe Neshrin, as we didn't get the slide, you can verbally present what you've done and what with Platea. Okay, I didn't see you. Okay, Neshrin.
Hello, can you hear me?
I didn't hear very
Okay.
well. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. This is I wasn't supposed to present. Yeah, but if you want, I can join in, maybe with some visual if you are interested in. But I would ask the organizer because to not. But anyway, if I can make a small introduction if you want.
Okay.
Okay. I'm Nasrin Moitiasli. I'm part of Horizontale. Horizontale is a collective of architects working on mainly our main research field is public space, but in general shared spaces, not always public. And we have worked for 10 years on a self-initiated research on co-design and action and co-building in an area in Roma, which is called Largo Bartolomeo Perestrello. But it's actually this space doesn't have a name, and it is a really special space in Roma. Since it is under really strange regulatory circumstances. Maybe I can share our website since I wasn't prepared to present anything. So maybe you can, or maybe you have some visual, Magali and Simone.
Yeah.
And
yes,
I can maybe share the website.
Okay, the website, the page. Okay. So
yeah, because otherwise I haven't prepared any presentation.
Okay. Share the
so
screen.
I may.
Yeah. Okay.
I will share the screen.
Yeah.
Or you will share. Sorry, Magali.
Okay. No, you can share.
No, it's better. If you want, it's better you share the screen.
Okay.
You go to the
I
website.
share the screen. It's okay.
Okay, perfect. I go up. Okay, I go.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah. I don't know if the
yes.
It's
okay,
mine
thank
or
you.
yours.
So this is the area we are talking about. And this area is in Roma. This is actually, this is a public space that exists because of below parking garage of two-story parking garage, which is underground. And this area has been neglected for more than 10 years. And since 2010, as Orizzontale, we made actions together with the local communities to open up the area, to ask the municipality to take action on the area. This was the area before. And it was fenced and didn't have any vision around, was fenced and closed for more than 10 years. And I do not want to steal more time, but
thanks.
So
thanks for the presentation. There was a mistake on the first edition of the call manual, because I remember your organization wasn't added in the Annex 1, but that had been corrected. And yes, as former partner of that you have already contributed with us and received funding, you are eligible to participate in this call. And thanks for exposing what you do. Yeah, as we said, this presentation is going to be online, and any of the other NEB partners that haven't been able to join us today, but that they had expressed their interest in knowing all of you, will be able to reach out to you. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks all of you. And I don't know if you had any other questions to add, or no? Okay. So thanks all of you for assisting today. I hope it had been useful and fruitful. If you have any other questions, please reach to us, any of us. Like Anne-Laure is our program officer, more into operational side. I am more into the concept wise and side. And of course, there is also Rebecca and Ellen, Marianne, and Blanca also, who can answer your questions related to topic wise. So yeah, just to say, I'm looking forward to receiving your applications. Good luck. This is a call that we really cherish, because it's to scale up the projects that had already proved to be successful. So it's very exciting to us to be able to do so. And yeah, just best luck to all of you.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Goodbye.
week.
Have a nice day and good luck, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, you too.